Okay, boys and girls, today we are going to talk about day and night. Day and night is caused by a few things. We have the sunlight, which is represented by the lamp over there. We have the earth, and also the earth is rotating. Rotating means to spin, so I'm rotating the earth right now. There is an invisible line that goes right down through the middle of the earth. We call it the North Pole and the South Pole, and when that line is connected, it's called an axis. An axis means the invisible line that the earth is rotating or spinning around. Hopefully you know that one rotation, one spin of the earth takes 24 hours, and we call that a day. Now that can be a little bit confusing because a lot of times we think of day as being only light, but maybe it would be better if we said daylight and darkness, and then one full rotation is a day. Over here you can see as the earth is in the light, we call that daytime, but as it spins around, we're moving toward this shadow here, and that's the earth in its own shadow. And now we're going into darkness, so right along this line here that you see daylight and darkness, that would be evening time. That's when you go outside and you see the sun setting. The sun isn't really moving anywhere, it's the earth that's rotating away from the sun. And then if you come around the other side, you want to come around the other side? Mm-hmm. On the other side, right here where my finger is, it's darkness. And then as we come around, I start to come into the light, and we call that morning. We say the sun is coming up. You can tell the lamp isn't going anywhere. The sun doesn't move anywhere. It's the earth that rotates into the light and then out of the light and back into the light and out of the light. And all of that takes 24 hours. So let's take a look at a few things over here. I think we're going to be over here where the sun is. Taking a look from the sun's point of view, so pretend that you're on the sun. Everything that you see right here looks like it's daylight, but of course the other side will be darkness. So here we have location A. This is up in Canada. If it is daylight here in Canada, what would it be in Chile, which is a country down here in South America? That's location 1. Would it be daylight or darkness? Well, we can see if it's daylight here, it's daylight down here also. This is the northern hemisphere, here's the southern hemisphere, but they are both on the side of the earth that's getting light from the sun. So it's daylight for all of them right here. As we take a look at Libya, Libya is a country over in Africa. Here is Libya. If it is noon at Libya, then what would it be on the other side over in Hawaii? On the direct opposite side. Well, think, what is the opposite of 12 noon? I'll give you a moment to think of that. There's Hawaii. It's directly opposite. So if it's 12 noon on this side, am I giving the answers here? Then hopefully you would have picked it is midnight, about midnight over here on the other side of the earth, okay? And then in about 12 hours, Hawaii would rotate around and they would have 12 noon, and Libya would be back here on the back side, and it would be about midnight in Libya. All right, let's check out Mongolia, not to be confused with Magnolia. Let's come on over here in the daylight. We're gonna say Mongolia, which is right next to China. Mongolia is in the daylight right here. So what would it be in Chile? Chile is on the other side of the earth. Well, right there, by me saying it's on the other side of the earth, it's going to be the opposite. So if this is daylight over here, the other side of the earth is opposite. Daylight, what's the opposite of daylight? Hopefully you said darkness. And so Chile would be in the darkness. Anything on this side of the earth is having daytime, and anything on the other side of the earth is having nighttime or darkness, and Chile is on the other side of the earth. The Indian Ocean. Hopefully you remember that the Indian Ocean, whenever we have a hurricane over the Indian Ocean, it's called, you think about it for a second, it's not a typhoon and it's not a hurricane, maybe you remember. Right here in the Indian Ocean, if it is daylight here, then what would it be in Chile on the other side of the earth? Once again, it'll be the opposite. If this is daytime, and I'm talking about something on the opposite side of the earth, what's the opposite of daylight? Hopefully you know it's darkness. And so if it's daylight here, it would be darkness over in Chile, which is in South America on the other side of the earth. What about when it's sunrise in Hawaii? So let's move over here, and we're going to take a look right along here. We're going to move Hawaii along. And there there's Hawaii. No, that's not Hawaii. There's Hawaii right there under that paper. So right here, the people in Hawaii are just starting to see the light. Let me back it up a little bit. Now they're in darkness over here where my finger is, and they come around, and it's just starting to be sunlight here. Well, if it's morning time right there in Hawaii, then what would it be on the opposite side of the world? Let's come on over here and take a look. Right there in Libya. So all you have to do is think, what's the opposite of day? Night. What's the opposite of morning? Evening. What's the opposite of sunrise? Sunset. So if it is sunrise in Hawaii, then directly on the opposite side of the world from there, it would be sunset in this part of Africa, Libya. And one more question. If it is midnight, let's come on around to the back. Hopefully it'll show up. If it is midnight in the Indian Ocean, oh, we lost the Indian Ocean. It disappeared. Way down there. Is that showing up? Mm-hmm. Way down here in the Indian Ocean, if it is midnight there, directly opposite from the sun, then what time of day, approximately what time of day would it be in Canada? Canada is on the opposite side of the earth. So if that's midnight and it's darkness, what's the opposite of day? What's the opposite of night? Daytime. What's the opposite of darkness? Light. What's the opposite of midnight? If it's midnight over here, hopefully you know it would be noon. And so right here in Canada, it would be 12 noon. Everybody has their turn to go through the light. The amount of light isn't changing out there in space. It's just a matter of, are you getting as much light as other parts of the earth? And part of that has to do with seasons, which we'll talk about later. Maybe you're thinking that sometimes of the year we have a lot more light than other times of the year, and we'll talk about why that is later. But half of the earth, no matter what time of year it is, half of the earth is always getting sunlight and half is always getting shadow. It's just a matter of how much of that light and how much of that shadow are you getting at whatever part of the earth you're on right now.